What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here, back here for another Tottenham update. We've got a lot to bring you. Alistair Gold gave us a big, long update yesterday, and Fabrizio Romano opened up his Twitch channel last night, and apparently it broke Twitch.
Did it?
How many
All the Tottenham fans saying, Tottenham news, Tottenham news, Tottenham news,
literally anyone and everyone was in there. Give us news, give us news, give us news.
I've seen his Twitter account every time he posts anything. It's like, Tottenham news, all over in all his tweets.
And today, apparently, is the launch of his YouTube channel. So, I mean, he is getting about Fabrizio now. So, it's called the Here We Go. But anyway, aside from that, this isn't a Fabrizio Romano advertisement. We're going to get into the Alistair Gold updates. And the first one is about Takahiro Tomiyasu. And he says, Tottenham have begun negotiations with Bologna for Tomiyasu. Paratici is hoping to tie up a deal for the defender for less than £20 million, although there are other clubs interested in the player's services. And then he goes on to say Tomiyasu's strength lies in his defensive work, and Tottenham plan for him to tuck inside to create a back three in possession to allow Reguilon to bomb it down the left wing as more of a wing back.
Yeah, well, it doesn't make much sense. He's a right centre back, so wouldn't he? Depends. Well, I thought it'd be more releasing the right wing back. Maybe I thought.
Well, I think out of possession he'll be playing as kind of a right back, and in possession he'll kind of tuck in, or the other way around, and then allow Reguilon to kind of bomb forward on the left. Either
way, I think he seems like definitely a promising defender who's had a great time at Bologna the past couple of years, and I think he's definitely one we should. It looks like we're quite far down the line negotiation with that one, so we definitely need some fresh blood in defence. We all know that. So I'm happy this deal is going to get done. And he's a versatile player. He can play along the back line as well. So I'm pretty excited about his potential rival. And I think as well, under 20 million should be a good deal.
Yeah, I completely agree. And when I was watching the Romano on Twitch last night, I was watching a few clips of it. I was actually watching it live, and he was pretty much convinced that he's going to be joining Tottenham. So it does look like this guy could be Nuno's first signing.
Yeah, and he seems like a physical specimen as well, like 6'2", bit of pace about him as well. So as we need defenders at the moment who have their head screwed on in terms of defensively, because I think at the moment we don't have enough of them. So hopefully he can bring that solidity to the back line and help add some competition.
Yeah, completely agree. Let's move on. Toby Alderweireld has asked to leave Tottenham a while ago, Alistair Gold says, regardless of whoever the new head coach was. But the move will be difficult. And then this was followed on by Charlie Eccleshare of The Athletic, who said Tottenham will not stand in Toby Alderweireld's way should he seek an exit from Tottenham this summer. The club will look to sign 2 new centre-backs.
Yeah, seems like Toby's out of the door now this summer. I think Eccleshare is actually the one who broke the news. He said that Toby's asked to leave. So that is it's a shame because he was our best centre-back last season. I still think as of right now, he still is our best centre-back. And yes, his legs might not be as quick as they used to be, but I think positionally, I think his passing range and all those kind of things are still top-notch. And I think if you pair him with a pacey, quicker centre-back, more physical centre-back, he can still definitely have a role to play for Spurs. But I think
definitely in a back three system as well.
I think for sure he can still has legs. I think he's even proven for Belgium in this Euros so far. He's been brilliant.
They've conceded 1 goal all Euros.
Yeah, and I think against Portugal, I thought it was absolutely fantastic against some really pacey, tricky customers as well. So I still think he's got a lot to give. But for me, I just think, given the fact he's got a couple years left on his deal, he's 32 years of age, we can still probably get, I would say, around 10 million for him, maybe 15 at a push. So I think, given the age, quality, and price, it kind of makes sense that we'll be prepared to sell him this summer. And
we gave him a 5-year deal, a 4-year deal?
No, it wasn't 5 years.
3 years, was it?
Yeah, I think it was like 3 years, wasn't it? When after Mourinho signed. So he's probably got a couple years left, I would say, on that, or 18 months left on that deal. So I'm not totally surprised that he's looking to leave, and now I think as well the fact that Mourinho's left, who he had a bit of a weird relationship near the end, but he was one of the main reasons he signed, and I guess maybe he doesn't want to stick around for another rebuild. Maybe that's also part of his thinking.
At the end of the day, he doesn't have left in his career, and I still think he's got the ability to go to a club where he can win something from now until the end of his career.
Yeah, I wouldn't. There's rumours he's going to go out to Antwerp. If I was him, I wouldn't go there yet. I still think he can still play at the top level for a couple more years at least, I would say, for Toby. So I think there's not enough years when he's 35, 36 to move to Antwerp.
Well, maybe he'll go to Inter Milan, have another not Inter Milan, Benfica, have another swan song with Jan Vertonghen.
And I tell you what, Jan's also had a great Euros, I must say, as well. He's also impressed me a lot. But look, it's going to be sad to see Toby go. It'll be a shame once he finally departs. I hope he finds a good club and has a good next step in his career. And I wish him all the best, obviously, whenever he leaves. But it is a shame. It's a massive shame that this is how all good things have to come to an end. And we know Toby's not his best. And if we do sign some quality replacements, it's not the end of the world. But it's just out of Toby, Dyer, and Sanchez, Toby would be the last one I want to leave. But it seems like he's going to be the first.
Yeah, and it's also a shame that he's been at Spurs for so long now. What was it? He's been at 6 years?
2015, so 6 years, yeah.
6 years he's been at Spurs and just not won anything.
No.
For the kind of majestic centre-back that he is, or he definitely was. It's just a massive shame that he's going to leave empty-handed.
It is a massive shame. It's he definitely came the best part of our Premier League moment, and he ended up not winning anything. It's a massive shame, especially that partnership with Jan was so good in their pomp. But now it looks like both of them has come to an end. That partnership's finally both to be leaving Spurs.
Alistair Gold went on to say movement is expected in some of Tottenham's attacking players this summer. So, I mean...
Interesting.
So, the way I look at it, Lucas Moura, Eric Lamela, anyone else, do you reckon?
And I think if we do get a good offer for Steven Bergwijn, we'll consider it. I do think that. Well, I think if we get our money back, and then we might look to invest it. But I think Lamela and Lucas for sure. I think any sort of decent money, we're going to move them on. Bergwijn maybe. I still highly doubt it. And then obviously Harry Kane. You don't know what's going to happen with Harry Kane in the summer, do we? So I think at the moment Son's the only one who's definitely going to be next season. I can see.
Next update, still from Ali Gold, is on Ryan Sessegnon, and he says Tottenham will have to make a decision on the immediate future of Ryan. Tottenham could allow him to leave on loan if they feel he won't get regular minutes, unless Nuno feels Sessegnon can be utilised further up the pitch. How do you kind of see Sessegnon and how he fits in for next season?
For me, especially with Nuno coming in, I think he has to be part of the team, has to be part of the first team next season, challenging Reguilon for that left wing back spot. If we do play a back three, which he played at Wolves, I think he's perfect to be challenging Reguilon for a left wing back spot, and I think they both actually have the good qualities to be a big success there. And I think Sessegnon, that was his best role. That's his self-described best role, and I think that's where he played his best at Hoffenheim in the early parts of last season as well. So for me, I think it's time to get Sessegnon involved. I don't think look, obviously another loan spell, if it's a Premier League team, maybe could benefit him, but I'd really want him to be challenging that left wing back spot for me. And if we do end up loaning him, that means it's again Davis and Reguilon, and if Davis plays part time in the back three, which means there's a lot of pressure on Reguilon in that wing back role, not much pressure on him throughout the season for competition wise. So I think he can get ample game time, especially with the Conference League. He'll get loads of game time, I think, next season. So I would keep him on.
I would agree with that. The next one is about Sergio Reguilon, and Ali Gold says Real Madrid have not indicated at this stage that they wish to activate the transfer of Sergio Reguilon, because he's got that clause that finishes this summer, right? This is the last
next summer, I believe.
Oh, is it next summer is the last summer they can sign him? So, so are we hoping that he doesn't have too much of a good season, just like half?
Keep saying that, yeah. All of a sudden, that second half of the season definitely convinced Madrid that to know, but I don't want him to repeat that. So, no more of those own goals, please, Reggie. Yeah, I still think he's a fantastic defender. There's a lot of potential.
There's a question about that.
And I think he came under a lot of criticism second half of last season, but I think he'll show next season, in my opinion, how good he really is. And I think Nuno can definitely help bring him along and get the best out of him. So it makes sense at the moment, Madrid not to activate it, because they just had Alaba, they got Ferland Mendy, and Marcelo's obviously still there, so there's not really any room for him. So maybe if Marcelo leaves next summer, and maybe if one of Alaba or Mendy leave, maybe. But at the moment, it doesn't make sense for Madrid to re-sign him, especially for the 45 million fee it will cost them.
And what he goes on to say with another one of our left backs we've already spoken about, Ben Davis, and he says Ben Davis is expected to remain at Tottenham this summer.
Cue the massive celebrations from Ariane. But yeah, I think I never thought Davis was really going to leave. He's one of those dependable defenders who's like, the thing is with Davis, I feel like he's never going to want to leave Tottenham because he's not going anywhere. He's pretty much peaked at Tottenham, so he's not going to go anywhere. And we're not going to be desperate for him to go because he's always a reliable defender when called upon, kind of thing. And
in that three of the back system as well.
Yeah, he could he's definitely shone there for Wales previously. And yeah, I don't really think he's at fullback he can really do the job anymore that we need him, but definitely in a back three or on the left wing back, I still think he can provide something. So as a backup and as a squad player, like, you're going to be hard pressed to find a squad player who's willing to have the game time Davis has, who's as good as him, kind of thing. So I don't think we're desperate to sell him, and again, I don't think he's desperate to leave, so it kind of makes sense he's going to stay.
I mean, he's a good squad player to have, isn't he? I mean, he doesn't let you down too often. He doesn't overperform too often. I mean, he's just a solid player to have.
The only problem is when that period when Regular was injured and we were playing him at left back every single game for like 10 games in a row, and then by the like 5th, 6th game he really started to struggle and get found out quite a bit.
If Sessegnon does not come back for next season and he's not fighting for that left wing back role, and we're stuck with Reguilon and Davis, I do think we do need to sign another left back.
Yeah, I agree, because that's why I want Davis to be that left centre back. I think at fullback, I don't think I think when he was younger, he just about had the legs to kind of be a left back where he could able to get forward a bit and then also track back. But I think now, late 20s, I'm not saying he's like gone completely, but I think he needs more support now than he did previously. And I think, yes, he can play in the left wing back role with 3 centre backs, or he can play in that left centre back role when he has support. But I think in a back 4, that left back role, I don't like him there anymore.
Let's move on. More from Ali Golden. He says Tottenham are keeping an eye on Milan Skriniar and Nikola Milenkovic. The Serbian will likely be the cheaper option for Tottenham as he only has 12 months remaining on his contract. I mean, I would take either of those in a heartbeat, wouldn't you?
Definitely. Milenkovic, definitely another one with a lot of potential. He's younger than Skriniar, but obviously Skriniar's more proven. Milenkovic may be a bit of a taller defender, more dominant in the air, but Skriniar's obviously a better natural defender, and he's just more higher qualities at the moment. Not saying Milenkovic can't grow
more
into
established.
That. Yeah, so it's kind of I see us definitely going for Milenkovic in that sense, cheaper, more sell-on value, all that kind of stuff. But if we were really serious about challenging for stuff next season, we'll go for Skriniar, but I don't believe we will. I think it'll be too much. His wages as well, you got to think he'll be at least over 100 grand a week or whatnot. Milenkovic probably half of that. So Milenkovic for me makes more sense, but not to say I wouldn't be happy with signing him.
Yeah, and it'll be easier to prize someone off of Fiorentina than it will be off of Inter Milan, obviously. And like I said before, 12 months remaining on his contract. So I mean, it just makes sense, really. What Ali Gold went on to say after that is Tottenham want to sign Sevilla defender Jules Kounde this summer, but a deal is complicated due to the player's price tag. Surprise!
Oh, shocker!
Surprise! Surprise!
Shocker.
Surprise! Surprise! And then
Isn't that every transfer?
Literally, Charlie Eccleshare went on to say that Kounde, Anderson, and Skriniar are all big targets for Tottenham this summer.
Yeah, all complicated by the transfer.
Yeah,
honestly,
every single one.
And that's just textbook Levy. Every single deal we ever do is complicated by the transfer price. So that's like water is wet. The sun's coming up tomorrow. That's kind of that kind of thing. But that doesn't surprise me at all. But all those 3 targets, Anderson, was it Anderson, Skriniar, and
Kounde.
And Kounde, they're all good players. Obviously, Anderson is the one where you're thinking maybe he's a bit more mediocre than those other 2, in my opinion. But he's also got a good potential, although I was surprised the lack of game time he did see for Denmark. I thought he would definitely be one of the starters, but he wasn't. But all 3 of them are good defenders, so if we get any of them, I'll be pretty happy.
This next one is a bit of from the media, obviously. I think that it's just lazy journalism, to be honest, because when Paratici came in, we linked with these host of Italian people, just non-stop Italians. Now Nuno's going to come in. We're going to be linked with every single Wolves player under the sun. Mm-hmm. And what Ali Gold says is Tottenham links to Wolves centre-back Conor Coady are believed to be wide off the mark at this stage. And I mean, I don't want him. I really don't.
Yeah, I don't think he's a bad defender. I just think he's not an improvement on what we have already. Like, I think, again, if you want to be in Europa League, he's fine. He's a fine defender. If Everton were to sign him or whatnot, it's probably a good signing for them. But for us, where we want to be, where we've been the past couple of years, we want to improve on where we've been. We don't want to just stagnate or go backwards. We want to push on from where we were. And signing Conor Coady will just basically consolidate 7th place. That's what it will be looking at. It wouldn't be looking to improve and looking to challenge. So that's why I say I wouldn't want him. As much as I think he's a fine defender, he's just not what we need. He's not the required quality.
He's too similar to Eric Dyer, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think they're similar. They really are similar in terms of ability-wise.
And talking of Eric Dyer, this last one from Ali Gold says, Tottenham would expect a decent fee for either Sanchez or Dyer in order for Tottenham to invest in that new centre-back.
That's what I'm worried about. I'm worried we're going to price ourselves out of these centre-backs selling them. Because Dyer, he's got a long few years left of his contract. He's 26 years old, 27 years old. So I'm thinking, I don't think anything less than 20, 25 million. I don't think we sell him. Sanchez, signed him for 42 million. So I think at least 30 we're going to be looking. To get clubs to be stumping up that kind of cash to get them out the door is very, very hard, especially in this market, especially for these kind of defenders who haven't really shown themselves to be reliable, especially the past couple of years. So unless we get a team kind of, you're looking, the only kind of teams maybe who would go for that are someone like a Wolves, a Villa, Everton, these kind of middle range, not too bad, not too low down the table, but also not too high. I
can see both of them at Everton, to be fair.
Something like that kind of team. Unless someone like that comes in, I can't see any, because they have the bit of the money, and also they kind of might see them as improvements or potential improvements of what they have. So they are kind of the only kind of teams I see as potentials. Maybe a Leeds potentially at a push. Other than that, it's hard to see them leaving.
What about abroad?
The problem is teams abroad have less money than Premier League teams.
We all know Roma ain't going to go for either of them.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Maybe Dyer, but I doubt it.
The thing, just I think La Liga, Serie A, like Premier League teams right now are financially much better off than teams across the pond in other European countries. So if anyone's going to come in for them, I think it will be from the Premier League, unfortunately.
All right, the last couple we got here. First from Jack Pitbrook of The Athletic, and he says Tottenham spoke to Hansi Flick reportedly about coming the next Tottenham head coach, but Spurs never did quite convince him to join the club. Another surprise.
Shocking. Well, I mean, I don't think we're as glamorous as the Germany job for him at the moment, and especially considering who the caliber of players he's used to managing at Bayern Munich. It's like a big step down, and I think, I'm not saying that he managed himself, because obviously he'd done brilliant there in terms of the run he went on and winning the Champions League and that crazy run. I think from when he took over, he literally was winning game after game after game. But I think it's just a completely different task at Spurs. It wouldn't be the same job whatsoever. So whether he backs himself to do a different kind of task like that is clearly not. And it doesn't surprise me at all. So I wouldn't have expected him to see Tottenham as an attractive proposition. And a bit like Kounde, he probably thought, I need this and this, and Spurs can't provide that. So no point taking an impossible job. Like Mourinho said, he chose a job maybe he wasn't suited to. And I think that's what Kounde and Flick will be wary of.
Next update is on Maurizio Pochettino. I promise you this will be one of the last Maurizio Pochettino updates.
So Duncan Castle says, still a chance this summer he's going to come.
I promise you this will be one of the last. But he says, Jack Pitbrook, he says, a PSG source on Tottenham's attempts to get Maurizio Pochettino. This is the quote. Tottenham may be looking to start a fire in somebody else's house to deflect from their own arson.
Yeah, I mean, that was a few weeks ago.
Was it? I've just seen it now.
Maybe it's just come up with, but I remember those quotes, and that definitely rings true. Spurs definitely tried their best to unsettle Poch and try and get him to leave, but it obviously didn't pan out. We all know that PSG clung on to him, and it looks like by the summer transfers they're making, they're making some good moves in my opinion with this window. So
PSG are making big moves.
Yeah, so Poch will definitely feel like something. Hopefully he'll maybe manage something next season and manage to build on what he had last season. But it was for me, it was always going to be very unlikely he was ever going to resign from PSG, and it made sense that he stayed there. I think he has respect for the club he managed, and I think Spurs for sure, they tried the kind of get out of jail free card in that sense, try and ruffle a few feathers in PSG, but they were tougher than we expected. So it doesn't surprise me that he ain't going to be managing Tottenham for the next couple of years at least, I think.
And last but not least, Matt Law says Harry Kane will not be sold by Tottenham this summer without Nuno's blessing.
We have to wait and see. Well, I doubt that. Did Ramos have a? Did we get Ramos's blessing for Berbatov to be sold? Do you reckon?
No, but we never got Matt Law's update.
Yeah,
true.
We definitely, AVB didn't give his blessing for Modric. I can guarantee you that.
But I actually saw an update apart from this that said that Fabio Paratici is actually pushing to get the money in for Kane, so he can have more money to do this rebuild.
Interesting. I think, yeah. I mean, it's going to be a long. It's going to be a long process for this whole drawn out saga. I think this Kane. We're going to get daily updates. Like it'll be like the Sancho one last year. I reckon it's going to be like daily updates of nothing. Hopefully it doesn't get done and we keep him for another year.
One more year.
But it remains. Look, I think it all depends on Man City. It all depends on how much they're willing to stump up. And if they're not willing to stump it up, then it won't happen. I don't think so. It all depends on them. I think. Just have to wait and see. Nothing's going to happen till after the Euros for sure.
And last one, a bit of a funny one. Did you hear Jose Mourinho on Talk Sport talking about that France defeat? How he said Deschamps made the mistake of taking off Griezmann and bringing on Sissoko to close off the game in the last few
Irony
minutes.
alert, Jose. Irony alert.
I was like, how could you say that? That's what you were doing all
Literally
season.
Every game he would do that. Then every time we would concede and we'd be chasing a goal with Sissoko on the pitch and it always fell flat. I was literally Mourinho 101. I remember reading that. I couldn't believe when he said that. I was like, are you serious? You're actually criticising for that. Like, literally have a bit of self-awareness, Jose. Seriously.
I know.
That was quite funny. And also, one quick one. Billy Gilmour signed for Norwich. Do you think that guarantees now Skip's day?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, you think Gilmour now?
Yeah, I don't think they'll have both of them. I think that... I think Billy Gilmour, absolutely astonishing player in my opinion. I think
surprised actually they let him go for a season.
Yeah, me too.
Bit surprised, but not totally. But
I mean, look, they've got quality players all over the pitch, Chelsea. But I think that he's going to have a really good season at Norwich, in my opinion. I think that they've got a really good player there, and I think happy for us as well because it will mean that Skip's coming home.
Good. Yeah, I'm glad. I can't wait for him to depart the first team next season.
All right, so there you have it. That is your Tottenham update for today. Tune in at 5 o'clock on the Free Bets YouTube channel as we're doing a live watch-long. David Harris will be doing a live watch-long on We Are Tottenham TV, and then we'll be back on We Are Tottenham for the big game tonight, Italy against Belgium. I cannot wait for that one. And then obviously tomorrow we are back in the gazebo, live on location for England against Ukraine. Football is coming home, people. But that is our update today. Let me know in the comment section below if you have any thoughts regarding any of the updates we brought to you today. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.